As a Westerner, when you first get to know someone from China and start a casual conversation with him, what kind of questions will you consider asking him? My guess is that your question will be about one of the following 5 things, which happen to be the top 5 misconceptions about the Chinese people. You don't believe me? Let's see. 1. They eat dogs and cats. This perhaps is the undisputable number 1 myth about the Chinese. At least a dozen of my Chinese friends have been asked why they eat dogs by different people when they are in America or Europe. But most probably, the person you are asking has never consumed dog meat in their entire life. According to surveys conducted in China, approximately 80% of Chinese citizens have never eaten dog meat. And those who have, mostly only tried once or twice in their lifetime. And many people eat dog meat not for its taste, but due to traditional medicinal beliefs. Dog and cat meat consumption is primarily concentrated in a few specific regions in South China and Northeast China. These regions have historical and cultural ties to the practice. In the southern Guangxi province, there is an annual Yulin Dog Meat Festival, which is infamous in China. And in the Northeast, most of the people consuming dog meat are Korean ethnic minorities. Chinese are primarily seeing dogs and cats as companion animals, particularly younger generations. Animal rights activist groups have many supporters on the internet. The stories of them stopping trucks on the highway to rescue kidnapped pet dogs or buying dogs from butchers are regularly reported. It is true that China still doesn't have animal protection laws, but the hundreds of millions of pet owners' voices for animal welfare has started to make a change. Recently, the city of Zhuhai in Guangdong province has become the second city in mainland China to ban the consumption of dog and cat meat. In the past 10 years, China's pet economy, including food, toys, and supplies, in addition to the pets themselves, has grown by an astounding 2,000%. Social media accounts of pet owner easily get millions of subscribers in China. So, next time you meet someone from China, a better question to ask is if he is a dog person or a cat person. 2. Chinese people are math wizards. Not only people from the West has this stereotype, Chinese themselves often call nerds math problem solvers. So there is some truth there. Math is indeed an important subject in Chinese education system. Parents and teachers place significant emphasis on math skills, and children are encouraged to excel in this area from a young age. China's college entrance exam, Gaokao, has a strong focus on STEM subjects. So, math is a core component of the high school curriculum, and students often spend more time studying math compared to students in many Western countries. But in China's colleges, math education is not much different from US colleges. And there is no statistical evidence that Chinese students perform better at math than those in different ethnic groups. From my personal experience, this myth is believed by many because of a nuanced difference in basic math education. Chinese math teachers require their primary school students to learn the multiplication table by heart, and doing mental math is seen as a basic skill. While in the West, teachers allow students to use calculators when solving problems. This practice is regarded as cheating in China and strictly forbidden. So you can understand why people are amazed when a Chinese kid blurts out correct answers to arithmetic problems without calculators, without pencil and paper. It is just due to a difference in training, not inherent math capabilities. So, it is an oversimplification to say that all Chinese people are inherently good at math. Individual ability, interest, and access to resources play significant roles in mathematical achievement. 3. Chinese people are quiet. Hey, believe it or not, you will be perceived as a quiet type when you are traveling in China. Why? Because you don't speak Chinese or cannot speak the language fluently, so you choose to keep your mouth shut most of the time, right? It's the same with Chinese people in the West. Although English is taught in Chinese schools, it is not their mother tongue. This language barrier makes them reluctant to speak up in conversations, for fear of making mistakes or being misunderstood. And Chinese culture, or Asian culture in general, is often described as high context, where communication relies heavily on implicit messages, nonverbal cues, and shared understanding. In contrast, Western cultures, particularly in the US and Europe, tend to be low context, emphasizing direct and explicit communication. This difference can lead to misunderstandings, with Chinese individuals appearing reserved or silent in Western settings. If you don't believe me, just walk into any restaurant in China. You will be surprised at how loud they can be. 4. Chinese women are subordinate to men. Western people had this misconception because of Confucianism. This philosophy, which has deeply influenced Chinese society for centuries, emphasizes hierarchical relationships, with men generally holding higher status than women. And the media portrayals, both within China and internationally, can perpetuate stereotypes of Chinese women as passive, subservient, or focused primarily on domestic roles. But the reality is, social norms has changed since the opening up of Chinese market in the 90s, and social attitudes towards gender roles keep evolving, particularly in urban areas. Chinese women have made significant strides in education and workforce participation. They are increasingly present in professional fields, business, and government. Gender inequality is still a societal problem in China, but these problems are more modern, likely exist in the West in different degree. The old China in which women are subordinate to men is long gone. 5. Chinese only eat rice. While rice is the staple food for some areas of China, for others, it is wheat. Traditionally, people living in the northern part eat steamed bread or noodles, while the southerners eat rice. Now, with convenient transportation of the produce and people's migration, this pattern is no longer there. Chinese cuisine is one of the most diverse in the world. It is an endless list of options, depending on the season and the region. For breakfast, they may have some soy milk and steamed buns. For lunch, ramen noodles sound good, or maybe some dumplings. For dinner, how about some hot pot? Modern China's culinary landscape shows an increasing integration of diverse staple foods due to urbanization, migration, and the blending of culinary traditions across the country. However, these traditional staples like rice remain deeply rooted in daily diets, with variations in preparation and consumption influenced by local climate, culture, and available resources. That's all for today's video. Please subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to like our video if you enjoy it. See you next time.